Hey guys, it's Sid with SVTPerformance.com, and today I'm going to give you a quick look at this Wildtrack Bronco that we've got to drive around a little bit. Just give you some of my thoughts and opinions on things. First, I really do like this cactus gray color more than I thought I would. It doesn't show dirt, and I'm a fan of silvers and grays and things like that. So you can call this, whatever you want, shiny primer. But I do like this. I would order that on a vehicle. But like I said, this is a Wildtrack version. You know that because it says it right here. And what's that?
Yet, there have been literally hundreds of sightings all across North America for generations now.
Oh.
It's Sam Squam Tricky.
So yes, this thing does have the Sasquatch package on it that is included with the Wildtrack. This is basically your top of the line Bronco. Of course, it's a 4-door. I had the pleasure of driving the 2-door earlier this year, and I really enjoyed that. But I'm surprised how much I like the 4-door. Personally, if I was buying one for my own uses, I would probably stick with a 2-door, and definitely a manual transmission because I just enjoy rowing my own gears. But this thing is pretty sweet. It's, of course, the 2.7 liter EcoBoost, 10R60 10-speed automatic, and just about as loaded as you can get one of these things. So how's it to drive? It's really good. I enjoy the suspension. Has the Bilstein shocks on it here, coilovers. These things are pretty good. I actually expected it to be a little softer than it is. It has a very nice trucky feel. It's firm but not overly harsh. So it rides really what I would like most trucks to ride like. This is pretty good. So Ford did good there. Has, of course, steel skid plates all over. Has the upgraded bumper. I do like that grille, the piano black grille with the white Bronco lettering on it. Good headlights, of course. Not a huge fan of these Goodyear tires. I would probably replace these with a set of Nittos. They're kind of noisy on the road, and they've got some weird wear patterns starting to crop up on it. This thing has 16,000 miles on it, and trust me, it's had 16,000 hard miles because this is a pre-production vehicle and it's a press vehicle, and trust me, typically the press people beat these things up quite a bit. So that's kind of to be expected, to see some wear and tear on things. But let's get the hood up and take a look at what's going on underneath. So under the hood is where the spaghetti monster lives. And you can see there's a lot of stuff going on with this thing. So it's, of course, the 2.7 liter EcoBoost, second generation version of this engine. And I really like this engine. I've had some good luck with it in F-150s, and I've seen it tuned to over 500 horsepower in that platform. Of course, tuning is not quite available on the Bronco platform yet, but that'll come sooner or later. And when you start swapping turbos and things like that, you can make some real power with this. This, of course, has the dual fuel systems, and you can barely make out, probably can't, well, you can sort of see right there at the tip of my finger is the port fuel injection rails down in the valley there. And it also has, of course, direct injection. I do like that you can actually see the turbos on this thing. They're not too terribly buried down in here. Of course, you do have an EGR cooler, not a fan of those. And I noticed it has this little water pump right here, electric water pump coming off the oil cooler. I'm guessing that's the oil cooler because that's the oil filter right there, and usually those are right beside each other. Just thought that was kind of odd. Typically, that would just be part of your main cooling circuit, but Ford, for whatever reason, decided it needed a little boost and stuck a little electric pump in there. Of course, got your blow-off valve feeding back into your intake here. It's surprising how small all of these intake pipes are and everything, but it's plenty big enough for the power that this thing's intended to make. This is, of course, a pre-production vehicle, so yours may vary a little bit, but this is pretty much what you can expect. There's just a lot packed in here, and this thing runs pretty good. I don't really have any complaints about the power. My only complaints, and this could be just the fact that this one's a pre-production model, the tuning is just very lazy. feeling. Even in sport mode, the throttle response doesn't feel great and everything, but I haven't driven a production version of the 2.7 liter EcoBoost yet, so that may have changed. Again, like I said, pre-production vehicle, so you could probably fix that with you know, one of the Pedal Max type mods, and maybe a boost fuller box, something like that. And there's a couple different brands of all those things, but some of those little plug-in utilities will crisp that stuff up pretty well. Do like the air intake sort of snorkel here, and it does have a little flapper valve, so if you get water down in this, instead of the water going into your filter, it just drops out the bottom down here, so you don't get a waterlogged filter. Do have your intercooler down here behind some louvers, and this thing is sort of small. That's what's going to really hinder performance on these. Even the aftermarket intercoolers aren't really big enough, in my opinion, and it's just because there's not room on this front end to stick. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen like the Whipple intercooler for the Explorer ST, which has the 3-liter EcoBoost engine, which is just a bigger version of this 2.7. You know, there's definitely some differences, but it's part of that same nano engine family. That intercooler is like, I mean, it's bigger than this whole front end of this thing, but there's just not room to pack something like that in here. But I think it would definitely benefit from an intercooler upgrade on the Broncos. We have some plans for ours when we get it in, hopefully next month, to add a little bit more power, make it a little bit more fun. But ours, of course, is going to be a Raptor version. This is a Wildtrack, and it's great, but you know, I always want more, so Raptor we go. So inside, you're going to find basically all the goodies: the big 12-inch screen, you know, your dual zone climate control, all that you expect, your GOAT modes, everything. This is basically as loaded up as you can get your standard Bronco. I do sort of like the FDE colored accents in here. Not sure what Ford calls it, but you know, those who know what FDE is. So it's pretty nice. Do like the seats. These are not the most comfortable on a trip. I would like a little bit more bolstering and thigh support, but they're not terrible. Just not the most comfortable, I would say. As far as comfort in the back, it's not nearly the penalty box that the two-door is. This is actual usable space back here. This, you could put people in here and they wouldn't feel like they're being punished. So if you got a family or you got to haul more than 2 people around at any particular time, the 4-door is probably the way to go. The 2-door, I mean, it might as well be a 2-seater. The seating might actually be worse than a Mustang back here. And one thing I definitely like, get cup holders in the back. That's important for us fat Americans. But it's not bad at all. You of course get your row of rocker switches across the top, so that's nice to have. And then all your various lockers and things like that, you can actuate them here. Did not get a chance to really do much off-roading with this thing, actually any off-roading. Just wasn't in the cards for the amount of time that we got to spend with it, and you know, I don't consider a little dirt road like this off-roading. But I did get to take about a 400-mile road trip in it, and I was very pleasantly surprised by the mileage this thing got. Unlike the back roads where you've got, you know, 55-mile-an-hour speed limits, so if you factor in your safety margin, it was getting like 22 miles to the gallon, which is pretty good for a brick. And on the interstate, 70-mile-an-hour speed limit, again, factor in your safety margins, it was knocking down about 20 miles to the gallon. So I would have been happy with 18. 20 makes me very happy, and 22 makes me want to do backflips with something like this. So very nice. I like how they paint the roll bars the same color as the body. That's really nice. Plenty of room in the back here. Lots and lots of room. Really like that. This makes this thing a much more usable vehicle. Pretty sweet. Go get the SVTP decals on it, of course. Got your full-size spare here. And like I mentioned, we'll be picking up our own Bronco in the next month or so. Went ahead and ordered a Raptor, and supposedly it's in production now, so hopefully sometime in September, get that thing on the road and see what it's like. I'm really looking forward to that. But this thing is pretty sweet. Drives very nicely. Steering is really good. The braking is very good on this. Very surprising with the brakes on these 35-inch tires. Works very well. Like I mentioned though, the engine tuning just feels lazy. I get that with a lot of newer Ford vehicles. They're just making stuff a little too smooth. I like mine a bit more aggressive, but that's what the aftermarket's for, and hopefully we'll get some aftermarket tuning from like HP Tuners, Diablo, those guys in the near future. Suspension, steering, all that, great. Does not beat you up on the road. Does not ride rough. Rides a little stiff, but not too bad. It's basically what I like in a truck. This thing rides like it. Like the F-150s, they've made too sophisticated in my opinion. I like things to be a bit more rugged, and this one's it. So that's basically my just quick take on this thing. Like I said, didn't have a ton of time to spend videoing and everything with it. We were out doing work, trying to get things put together for our upcoming Bronco Raptor. So I just wanted to give you guys my quick take, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, head over to svtperformance.com for all the latest news, reviews, and information on your favorite Ford-powered vehicles.